Hi guys, Tonya here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back. I review products and services. I have a 7 and 9-year-old. If I can save you time or money, I'm willing to do that. I'm approaching 50. Time and money is very important. But today I come to you with my daughter's story on her knee injury. And I also share pieces of life that if I've gone through it and it can help someone else, I want to share. And that's why I'm here today. Because some of it I think could be valuable advice, because we went through this knee injury for months and I had no idea at times what to do, how to deal with it, how to manage her, and how to deal with the circumstance with her at any given point. She's 9. So it started back in August. She came home, maybe it was days later. It's foggy because she was like, oh, I tweaked my knee at recess. Okay, maybe you sprained it, it'll be fine, just go about. It was one of those things, okay? So I'm like, what did you do? She kind of twisted it, you know, going down, hitting a relay, she's going down to touch the ground, and she twisted it. Okay, so we're in a basketball academy. She's running back and forth on the court. She's doing perfectly fine, but she's saying my knee hurts a little bit. So we go in CVS and we get a brace. Is that better? That's better. Okay, great. So she goes through the entire academy, which is like 6 weeks, and she played on it, but it wasn't getting better. So at this point, it's time to go see an ortho, a pediatric ortho, and see what it is. So we get the x-ray. There's nothing wrong with the x-ray, okay? But it's still swollen. Weeks later, we're in September, is when she actually had that first x-ray at first. So it's still swollen. It hurts to the touch. She doesn't have full range. Short story, he puts her in, he basically, the first time, puts her on ibuprofen and says, take it X amount times a day, and let's see if the inflammation goes down. It happens to be fall break at that point. Rest, we're going to the beach. But she was able to rest because she didn't have to be so engaged or recessed or any gym or any of that sort of thing. So we go back after that break, still inflammation, still sore. We took it easy, puts her in a full brace, okay, that she can't bend her knee. So now she just needs to be not immobilized for week, 2 weeks. So I put her in a wheelchair at school because she couldn't get around school because she can't bend her leg. I was taking her to and from school. And at this point, she got accepted onto the basketball team, but can't play because now she's in an immobile brace. Coach is like, what's going on? So he was like, maybe you need a second opinion, because we had gone through this a couple of times at this point. We go for a second opinion, we get another x-ray. He doesn't see anything. But it's been too long. She still should not be immobile, okay? So at the end of October, finally after that x-ray, he's like, we just need an MRI. I've got to be able to see what I'm working with. So we get to the MRI. Brave, my 9-year-old, goes and does the MRI all by herself because it moved very fast. If you've never had an MRI at a pediatric office, or I thought I was going to be able to go back with her. It didn't happen like that. You got COVID, you got all this stuff going on, right? So she was brave. I was very proud of her. MRI comes back, short story, clear. Nothing's wrong with her knee. So, okay, so we're clear that we can do physical therapy, which has been a lifesaver. But it has been immobile for so long that she lost range, even more so, because she wasn't using it. And then the mind started to take over. And then she was afraid she was going to hurt herself. But we didn't stop going to basketball. She couldn't practice, but she was there for every basketball practice, for every game. We participated because, you know, you commit, you stay committed. And physical therapy was getting better. But come December, the biggest change was break. She had forgotten. Her mind had taken over so much that she had forgotten that her knee was hurt, which it wasn't hurt anymore. She just wasn't using it for so long. And she started running again with my sister's dog. And that was monumental that she was able to do it. She was a little sore after that, but she was like, wow. So then she just started engaging a little bit more on her terms. I tried to push her. I tried to play good cop. I tried to be bad cop. I talked to her physical therapy, who was my physical therapist when I had ankle surgery a couple of years ago, because I knew she was fantastic. I tried so many different things because once I knew that it was mental, that her mind was basically taking over saying, you can't use your knee. We had been in a wheelchair, so then she was suffering with, well, She's not heard anymore at school, so she's not getting the attention that she was getting before. All of those things. And my daughter's mind, even at 9, which if you can relate to yourself, perhaps she has a personality like you, which my daughter does have a personality like me. I internalize things. As I approach 50, I'm trying to weed those things out, but she's only 9, and she is taking on so much of this. And break was great because it just let her release on her terms. We didn't go to physical therapy. We traveled to my parents in Pennsylvania, and it got to her terms, and she forgot about it. She forgot about it, and she used it and didn't complain about it. Didn't hurt. We were off ibuprofen, all these things. Come back, beginning of January, basketball starts back up. Okay, physical therapist says, you're good to go. You can do it full on. Do everything that all the other kids do. She broke into tears. I mean, tears. Made herself sick for almost 24 hours because I just pulled the plug, and I'll tell you why. Because she'd got so much anxiety about going back to basketball practice that she made herself sick because of all these thoughts. And you think, like, our kids, how can they have all this in them at such a young age? But she does. And maybe your daughter or son does as well, that I can't keep up with the other kids. What if coach makes us run until I'm not the last one? Well, that's not going to help in mom because I don't have the stamina. I'm going to get winded too quickly. I can't go for 2 hours like the other girls. Oh, and so all of this was just consuming her and flooding her in tears. And I'm like, okay, we're not going to basketball practice tonight. She made herself sick. The next day, she was still sick. We go to physical therapy, and she's done. She's going backwards, okay? Her mind has taken over so much that she is now going backwards in physical therapy, not wanting to do the things that she was doing fantastic on and advancing. And I pulled the physical therapist aside. I worked with 2 at that point because we were teaming up. And I'm like, is she gonna play basketball? Like, season's over in a couple of weeks. Is she actually going to be able to play? Oh, and by the way, the team only has 6 players, 7 players if they're lucky. So the fact that she's not going to be like in for a minute and then out and take a rest, she's going to be like in for most of the game. He's like, her stamina does not build up that much. She's not going to be able to do that. So I said, okay. Talked to my husband in the middle of that week because she had basketball again, practice. And we agreed that she should just cancel. Take the rest of the season off for basketball. She hadn't played the entire season. And we never quit. So then that circled her. The things we put in our kids' minds, man, they think about it, or at least my daughter does. She's like, Mom, you paid for it. We committed. We don't quit. I said, no, we don't, but you're hurt. And I already asked the physical therapist if you were actually going to be able to play in a game, and you're not. So we can continue to go to all these practices and not do anything. You can continue to stress yourself out because you can't commit fully 100% yet at practice. And you can keep all that anxiety inside, or we can just say, we're going to wait until the spring and we're going to try again. And the next morning, she was a different person. She let go of all of that she was holding on to because of not having to go to basketball. Now, did it come full circle again when she had to go back to school the next week? Yes, it did. And the anxiety took over again, and then she was off for a couple of days, and she forgot about it. Now, we are 100% great. She's moving her knee. She went back to the doctor for a follow-up. She has 95% range. He's like, it's amazing, but he said the mind took over. Now, I will say this as a piece of advice, too. My daughter, when she was 7, had her tonsils removed. And I told this to the doctor at the end because when I said, I don't know what to do, like, he's like, it's her mind over her knee. Like, her mind has to trust again that her knee is going to be able to do what it needs to do. He kind of related to football players when they get injured. They could be ready to go back on the field within a short period of time, but their mind sometimes takes a year to recover. And he told her that story to try to work through it, but she still had all that stuff at that point that she was committed to basketball because we don't quit. So we can't put too much pressure on them on those particular circumstances, and that's why I share my story, because full circle, once she was able to do it on her terms, and when she forgot about it, and she didn't have the stress that she was putting on herself, but nonetheless, stress, anxiety in her mind, it started to dissipate. And it's amazing. And now she went back to the doctor. She's great. Physical therapy. We're still going to physical therapy because she's not 100% there yet. And quite honestly, we're still going to physical therapy once a week, and then it'll go to every other week. But we're doing that because she just needs somebody to push her besides me or dad, right? She needs somebody to push her to get to the next level, to get to the next endurance level, to get her back on track. Because our body, I've asked physical therapists, I've asked doctors, I'm like, I just can't get where she was so immobile. And he's like, that's it. She was immobile for the longest time. And her body just stopped moving in that direction. It's crazy. I digress, but I go back to the tonsil story. Is at the end of my meeting, and I said, you know, she had her tonsils out when she was 7, and she came out of the anesthesia very badly. It was a horrible experience. She was in pain the next day. Ice cream didn't cut it. Like, I thought it was going to be simple. It wasn't. And she remembers that pain, and she holds on to that pain. So now she is hypersensitive to pain, which he said that makes a big difference on why she's reacting the way that she is now with her knee, because she got injured. So if you have a child in a younger age that's gone through a trauma like that, the mind takes over so much. It's crazy. And I found, if my story helps you, I hope so, but I found that it worked best when I let it do it on her terms, because when I pushed her too hard, she pushed back. And when we did things that wasn't within her ability, it made it harder, made it more challenging, and she just kind of gave up. So I hope my story helped you. My daughter is doing great. She's amazing. But this journey from August, and we're in January, this journey has been that long. At some points of not knowing through 2 x-rays and an MRI, trying to figure it out. At the end, what she had was a bruised kneecap. Okay? Basically, when she twisted it, it bruised, caused inflammation, and the rest of it was pretty much mind over matter. So sometimes these little things become big things, but they become bigger things, especially within our mind, especially with the kids that we're raising. So I hope my story helped you. If you have comments, feel free to comment below. Reach out to me. Subscribe to my channel. I review products and services. I tell personal stories, because if I've gone through something that can help somebody else in turn, I want to help you. I want to help you if I can, because that's kind of what we're all here. Somebody else has gone through what potentially you were going through, and if my story can help you in a little bit to see insight into your situation, to alleviate some stress and pain that you're going through, I'd like to hopefully try. So thanks guys for watching. See you next video. Bye.